Open a WhatsApp voice note outside the app, and your computer often just shrugs, won't play it, doesn't know what it is. So what actually is a WhatsApp voice note as a file? Let's open one up and look inside, because once you understand the format, every weird thing about voice notes suddenly makes sense. Here's the puzzle that brings most people to this question. You've got a voice note you want to keep, or send to someone, or play on your laptop. You find it, you double-click, and nothing useful happens. Maybe an error, maybe it opens in some random app, maybe silence. Meanwhile, it played perfectly inside WhatsApp 2 seconds ago. That gap, works in the app, useless outside it, is entirely about the file format, and almost nobody explains what's actually going on. So let's demystify it properly. By the end of this, you'll understand 3 things. What format WhatsApp uses and why, where the voice note files actually live and what they're named, and what you can and can't do with them once you get them out. This isn't just trivia. Understanding the format tells you exactly why the conversion and transcription steps in my other videos are necessary, and why certain shortcuts people suggest online simply don't work. A little bit of how it works knowledge saves you from wasting time on dead ends. So let's actually get a voice note out of WhatsApp and look at it as a file. To see the actual files, export a chat with voice notes, 3 dots, more, export chat, include media on Android, contact name, scroll down, export chat, attach media on iPhone. You get a zip. Open the zip and look in the media folder, and there are your voice notes. First thing you'll notice, the names. They look like PTT, dash, a date, dash, WA, then a number, .opus. PTT stands for push to talk. That's WhatsApp's internal term for a voice note. The date is when it was recorded. And the extension, .opus, is the key. That's the format. Opus is an audio codec. Think of a codec as the method used to squeeze sound into a file. It decides how the audio is encoded and how small it gets. Opus is genuinely one of the best codecs ever made for voice. It's open, it's free of licensing fees, and it's extremely efficient at compressing speech into tiny files while keeping it understandable. That's exactly why WhatsApp chose it. Voice notes need to send instantly on any connection, and Opus makes them tiny. So far, so good. The problem is support. A format being technically excellent doesn't mean every device can open it. Opus is well supported inside apps and browsers and on the web, but as a standalone file you double-click, desktop operating systems have been slow to support it. Windows historically needs extra software. Mac is patchy. Older phones often can't. So you end up with this great little file that the app it came from plays flawlessly and almost nothing else will touch. There's one more layer. Sometimes the Opus audio is wrapped in what's called an OGG container, so you might see .ogg too. Same idea. The container is just the box the encoded audio sits in. Either way, the playback problem is the same. Now you know what you're holding, a highly compressed Opus voice file, efficiently named by WhatsApp, brilliant for sending, awkward for using elsewhere. So what do you do with these once you understand them? 2 useful things, and 1 impossible thing. The impossible thing first, because it saves you time, you cannot improve the audio quality. The Opus file already discarded detail to be small. Converting it to a bigger format won't bring that back. Now the 2 useful things. 1. Convert it to a format that plays everywhere so you can actually use the audio. 2. Transcribe it so you have the words as text. Both happen the same way. Drop the chat export zip on chattopdf.app. It reads the Opus files directly and processes every voice note in the export at once. Pick a tier with transcription. Because the tool reads the original Opus source rather than a re-recording, you get the cleanest result that file format can give. Pay once, no subscription. Knowing the format now, you understand exactly what's happening under the hood. The Opus audio is decoded, run through speech-to-text, and laid out as readable text, while the conversation structure, who, when, is reconstructed from the chat file that came alongside the audio in the same zip. The cryptic PTT Opus files become an organized, readable document. Here's the result, and now it should make complete sense why it works this way. Every voice note, decoded from its Opus file, transcribed to text, placed in the conversation with its sender, and the timestamp baked into its file name and the chat log. Searchable, readable, usable anywhere. The format that made voice notes tiny and portable also made them awkward and unsearchable. And understanding that is exactly why this conversion exists. You're not fighting the format, you're translating out of it. PTT Opus in, readable, searchable document out. And you'll never again wonder why double-clicking a WhatsApp voice note on your laptop does nothing. You know it's an Opus file your desktop won't open, and you know the way around it. Privacy. The audio is processed on the server. You download the result. The file is removed shortly after. No training, no human review. Quick FAQ now that you know the format. Why Opus and not MP3? Opus compresses voice far more efficiently than MP3 at the same quality. Better for tiny, instant files. Can I just rename the file to .mp3? No. Renaming doesn't change the actual encoding. The file is still Opus inside, and players will still choke or play noise. Will a generic online Opus to MP3 converter work? It can change the format so it plays, but you lose the chat context, the sender, and the timestamps, and you do them one at a time. What's the OGG version? Same Opus audio in a different container. Now you know exactly what a WhatsApp voice note is, and why it behaves the way it does. Link in the description. Code VOICE25 for 25% off any tier. Subscribe for new tutorials every Tuesday and Friday.